This is a tough video to make, but I feel compelled to make it yesterday. So today's September 11th, 2025. Yesterday, Charlie Kirk was assassinated pretty much live on social media. Rest in peace, Charlie Kirk. I almost couldn't believe it when I seen it, and I feel so bad for his family. I couldn't even imagine. And on top of it, coupled with the reaction, even if they stay off the internet, it's just like, wow, one day his kids can just look up everyone mocking his public execution. It's insane. So I guess that's why I feel compelled to make this video, is that you go to work, you come home, you just turn on, you know, I was about to say flip open. You flip open this phone, but you know, we got smartphones, you just got the screen in your pocket at all times. I pull out the screen in my pocket, and before I know it, I'm watching the close-up version of Charlie Kirk getting shot in the neck. He just starts bleeding and he slumps over, and I think my brain tries to protect itself, and I think my first thought is that AI? And my second thought is, this is all very quick, but my second thought is, if that's AI, I think I gotta put this phone away, because I can't be opening my phone and having things like this, and you know what I mean, feeling that. But also at the same time, I knew it wasn't AI, because it looked too real, and I just had that feeling. And then so you just quickly check something, and yeah, he got shot, and you're just like, wow. And I knew by how he got shot and how he slumped over that he most likely wasn't surviving, and it was just like, wow. It's crazy, it's insane. And you're just like, it's horrific, and anybody who gets shot, you should have sympathy for. I mean, I'm on Team Human here. You know, I still feel like I got some humanity left in my bones here. And sometimes you just see some things that makes you question, kind of like, what are we doing? And like, what is going on? And for me, 9/11 was one of those things. Way back in 2001, that got me into sort of looking into like, okay, what's going on here? And to me, what happened yesterday is another little indication of like, where are people's morals at? So Charlie Kirk gets assassinated, and the response is, wow, that is horrific, that someone took a gun and shot this man, instead of maybe coming up to the microphone and trying to debate him. You know, they just shot this guy for his opinions. We're supposed to be in a free country. We're supposed to be able to say what we think, you know. So the natural, to me, the response is just, wow, what a horrible situation. You wouldn't wish that on anybody. You condone or condemn political violence of any kind from any side, and that's it, full stop. You don't then say, oh, well, one time he brought up this thing about guns, you know? Or in my opinion, you don't say, oh well, he like has a weird view on trans people or something, like, you know. So people will say he goes around saying hate. So full disclosure, I haven't listened to a lot of Charlie Kirk, you know. I haven't listened to him speak a bunch. You know, I did watch recently, he put out a interview with Tucker Carlson. He had an event with Tucker Carlson, and then he had Dave Smith debate somebody at one of his events, Turning Point USA events. And I remember coming away from it being like, yeah, man, Charlie Kirk. I was like, I don't, it's not that I didn't like, it's not like, oh, I wasn't a Charlie Kirk guy, but it's like, in my mind, I was like, oh, if you kind of can't criticize Israel, then it's kind of like, I question kind of what you're doing. You know, if you can't kind of look on what's going on over there, and I don't know, come to a couple of basic conclusions, I kind of question how informed you are. You know, it's not a big deal. You don't have to be informed. It's just, I don't know why people are running around. It just seems like everyone's running around talking a bunch of smack as if they know everything, right? And I don't know. Anyway, I don't want this to go off the rails. I kind of forgot what I was talking about there, but I know it's like I was saying, I'm not exactly a Charlie. Oh yeah, I'm not exactly a Charlie Kirk guy, because he didn't just take a hard stance on Israel. Like, yeah, it's kind of not okay to do this, you know. But I was like, wow, everything else this guy's saying, I gotta agree with him. You know, he's like one of the few voices who's being like, actually, sex work is not something we should normalize, you know. And hey, you know what's cool is like getting married and having kids and like being stable. And you know, he talked about, you know what's cool, like going to church and believing in God. And you know, you can say what you want about it, but I am of the belief that if we all just even went to church every Sunday and we were just like, hey, how are the kids doing? Or like, hey, you know, that was a great casserole you cooked last Sunday. We would just have a stronger community. And I just feel like a lot of people, 2025, as these countries collapse, it's kind of weird, you know, North America's collapsing. UK's collapsing. Australia's collapsing. All the first world countries are collapsing at the same time. It's like, I don't know how much more obvious it could be. Yeah, I don't know, this might be a controversial take. I don't know how ready people are for it. Doesn't really matter. This is kind of me getting on the record of things, but it's like, I kind of feel like when you're talking about the West, you're talking about North America, I feel like they sort of took God away from us, you know? And they got me too. I remember growing up, going to a Catholic school and totally rejecting it, thinking, this is so silly. And the people at the school here don't really seem that enthusiastic about it. And it just seems like they're going through the motions, and I'm super skeptical. And I could read through the scriptures here and pick it apart all day long or whatever. So anyway, yeah, I was like rejecting religion all my life. And then in the early 2000s, I remember the atheists coming around, like the Sam Harris types or whatever. I just remember all of a sudden, like, people were talking about whoever, Richard Dawkins and all these people. I don't even know their names. I don't even, I was about to swear there, I don't even give a S really about them, but they got me. Sam Harris and Richard Dawkins and all these guys who say, you know, God isn't cool and atheism is cool, they kind of got me. I kind of fell in with the whole atheism thing. Now, kind of realizing it's a bit sloppy. But anyway, my whole point is, in 2025, I'm looking around and I'm seeing people who are like, these countries are collapsing, and they're like, we need to come together. You know, so it's like, let's try to stable these things here. So say what you want, but I almost think that it's like kind of chaotic, and there are like forces at play that are sort of want chaos. And I think that's why in the media and Netflix and the shows and the movies, they make fun of men all the time because they kind of want women against men. You know, and when that horrible thing happened to George Floyd, it was like on the news 24/7 forever because they kind of want white people against black people. You know, I do think there are kind of some elite shadowy forces that kind of want to flood first world countries with like immigrants, and then they kind of want things to go awry, and instead of you blaming wandering traders show up there, instead of you maybe blaming the authorities or the government for the policies that ruin the country, you instead get mad at, I don't know, the people who come here to try to take advantage of the policies that the government are just offering, right? In other words, don't hate the play or hate the game. But in other words, if you're running the game, then you kind of want the players to hate on each other, wouldn't you? You kind of wouldn't want the players to be all together and going to church and talking, and no, you kind of want them all divided and addicted to screens and arguing all the time, and can't even talk to people because you have different opinions on everything. You can't talk to this person anymore because they like Trump, or you can't talk to that person anymore because they said something about the COVID-19 vaccines, and you know, you cut that person out because they said that thing about the trans people or whatever, and it's just like kind of like divide and conquer, guys. It's kind of like that movie Ants. You ever see that one? Well, is it called Ants? I think it's pretty sure it's called Ants. Well, I haven't seen it, but I've seen the clip of you know, the grasshoppers when they're talking, right? Behind the ant's back. You know what I'm saying? And they're like, hey, don't be telling these ants that, you know, they outnumber us. Otherwise they might actually demand real representation. You know what I'm saying? So it's like you got the handful of grasshoppers that are kind of keeping the ants down, you know what I'm saying? And anyway, that's kind of what I'm getting at here, is that, yeah. You got the government on the same page as the media, on the same page as the corporations. It's called an oligarchy. Alright, this ain't even a democracy or really free market capitalism. But it would be nice if, like, people thought they were in a democracy, wouldn't it? And they're like, yeah, it would be nice if people didn't accept their gender, or it would be nice if, like, your kid came up to the parents and they're like, you know, confused about their gender. And wouldn't it be nice if these people didn't go to church? And wouldn't it be nice if they, you know, marriage wasn't between a man and a woman? Because I don't know what's going on, but you can read some of these books, guys. They talk. Listen, we're getting into some deep waters here, all right? But I'm letting her fly. It's all documented. You read these books, and that's why there's a heavy depopulation bent. All right, with these sick, rich, elite pigs. That's why you hear a lot that, like, you know, humans are like cancer on the planet, and we need to be, like, rid the planet of humans or something. All these rich people that think they're gonna merge with machines and live forever or something. They're all like, yeah, you know, you shouldn't be able to drive your cars, and you should eat bugs, and no showers for you, and we're gonna limit your mileage. You know, because we're actually really tough on Mother Earth, and Mother Earth can't handle it, and you humans are cancerous, and there's not enough resources. And I say baloney. Alright, I don't think these guys are as smart as they say they are, and I think there's plenty of resources for everyone. I think it's just an allocation, or sorry, a distribution problem. Okay, and I'm not saying you round up all the rich people, take their wealth, and distribute it evenly. Listen, guys, I'm not going to get in right now to how you can fix this, but it's like, it's done on purpose, obviously, because if I am a college dropout, alright, I'm high school educated, and you put me as like the Prime Minister of Canada for the last 8 years, we'd be better off just because I've read a couple of books, and that shouldn't be the case. You know what I'm saying? But that is the case because Justin Trudeau came in here with his, like, you know, sexy hair. Alright, his little sexy suits and his little sexy hair, legalizing marijuana. And, turns out just a WEF puppet, you know, World Economic Forum, look them up. So it's like, you will own nothing and be happy, so get used to it or fight back, it's up to you. But, yeah. You get Justin in here, and how do you destroy a nation? I don't know. Open up the borders. Make it really easy to get in. It used to be hard to get in. I'm not saying it should be that hard, but, you know, when you make it hard, what do you get? People who speak English. Doctors, lawyers, people who, you know, really will contribute to society. What do you get when you open up your borders to the world and don't really check anybody coming in? Okay, just listen, if I was in one of these countries and I was like a criminal, or I was like, you know, I had a bad reputation, or, you know, I couldn't get a good rap because everyone knew I was like a thief and all this, who knows? I'd be coming to the first world country that had their borders wide open, and guess what? The people running this stuff, they know that. So what's going on in the UK right now? I'm really getting on the record with stuff. Yeah, but we're in September 2025. So what's going on in the UK right now will happen in Canada if things keep going the way they are. What happened in the States, but they elected Donald Trump. Donald Trump, what a disappointment that guy turned out to be. Anyway, this start... Listen, I don't want to get into Donald Trump, okay? Listen, I would have voted for Donald Trump instead of Kamala Harris. Anyone with half a brain would have. But I would have voted for Donald Trump thinking I was getting the punk rock president, the counterculture president who's going to drain the swamp. You know what I mean? Put Dr. Fauci in jail or whatever. Hold people to account, right? That's not what happened. He went in there and just... He's never seemed like a more old, pathetic man ever. And, yeah, just straight up fibbing. I mean, I knew he was a fibber before. It's not like I didn't know he was a fibber, but I really thought he was gonna, like, release the Epstein files, you know? Anyway, there's no way you... Listen, once you bring up the Epstein files, it's over for you, but... Alright, let's try to get this back on the rails here. Here's my whole point. It's like Charlie Kirk was a man with a great message. He was like, let's get back to God. Let's get back to community. Let's get back to looking out for each other. Did he say everyone's flawed? I guess you can point out some things that he said that weren't that great, which I'm hearing other people point out. Regardless, you shouldn't get shot over that. But anyway, here's my point, is that Charlie Kirk was pushing a good message. You know, he was telling your daughters, like, yeah, sex work isn't that cool. And it's not that cool. And if you do it online, it doesn't matter. You're still a prostitute, okay? Male or female. If you know what I mean? Sell your body for money. You're kind of a prostitute. And it is what it is. If you can make money, then go ahead and do it. But let's not pretend like you can get, like, you know, real respect doing that. You can't. You know what I'm saying? Because deep down, we all know shameful. It's not that good. And I'm not going to get into another topic which I'll probably fire off on another time, which is pornography. Okay, and who started that, and maybe why they started that, and how it's going, and it's not going that good, and we're not talking about that. My whole point was Charlie Kirk was pushing a good message of, like, God, family, let's not have a culture where we don't have morals and we say weird things, whether we're trolling or not, about people who just died, you know? And it's not just Charlie Kirk, it's a lot of celebrities from both sides, political or not. They die and there's just memes about them that day, and it makes me wonder, like, man, what world am I living in? I don't want to be part of this world. But anyway, Charlie Kirk, he was pushing a good message. And he was saying to your daughters, don't get into sex work, and it's not that cool. And he was telling your sons, yo, don't gamble all your money away. Gambling ain't that cool. You know? Work hard. Try to work hard so you can support a family. Get married. That's what's cool. Go to church. That's what's cool. And let's see if I have enough logs. Speaking of church, I'm going to put this up here. Yeah, so my heart just breaks because he was preaching such a good message, and wow, he just got taken out way too soon. But I think what's going to happen is what he was preaching is going to live on. And I know for me, it's inspired me to not be ashamed and go public with it, you know. And I didn't feel shame, but we live in a weird world where you can make fun of Christians and you can mock God and Jesus. But yeah, I do choose to believe in God. I am religious. We're on this crazy planet, experiencing life in our own little ways, and you will not find a more skeptical person than me. And I'm trying to read the Bible. I'm trying to read the scriptures. And it's tough to... It's tough. I'm just going to leave it at that. But I am a better person because I choose to believe in God. I'm not saying I'm better than you or anybody else. I'm just saying I'm better than what I would be if I didn't. You know? And I look at it like, how can I get closer to God? Talking to some people about it too, and it's, I think, praying, just reading the scriptures, and going to church. And for me, what I've come down to, because I've been on this journey for a while, I pray to God, I have a relationship with God, I choose to believe in God. You know, it makes me humble. I read the scriptures, I can find some good lessons, and I'll leave it there. And when I go to Mass, I love the community that I feel there. And that's it. And it's like, I remember going to church when I was young, and it wasn't like, yo, we hate gay people, don't have sex before marriage. It was none of that. It was always just, we're here to worship God, we're here to worship Jesus, we're all here to come together to say there's something out there bigger than ourselves. And I remember it always just being about, we're kind of fortunate and there's people less fortunate than us and we should help them. And that's it. So that's kind of my case for that. It's like a... so bitter, so bittersweet, you know. And what happened yesterday shouldn't have happened. And it was crazy that I just seen the video without even... It just happened. Just like that stabbing on the subway. I didn't want to see the video. I kept seeing the stills. I might read about it. I might hear people talk about it. Didn't want to see the video. I don't want to see stuff like that. And then you just open up something and bam, I seen the video. And it's like... what are we doing? What is going on here? And I'll tell you what's going on. The way you destroy a country, you open the borders, you let everybody in. Okay, you undermine the courts so that people can get arrested like 14 times, even for violent crimes, and they get let out. Make it make sense. You can't, other than people are destroying the country. They're getting orders from up top. And what else do you do? I mean, you take away the books. People aren't reading. They're just watching TV. I mean, the narcissism. Sorry, scratch that. The hedonism. The nihilism. It's out of control. The selfish attitude. The infighting. Fanning the flames of the culture war. These guys taking your tax dollars from rich countries you can't even afford a home, sending it to countries so they can blow people up. I mean, it's like, you can't make it make sense. So instead of rambling on, I think I'm just going to cut it right there. This will probably be more of the style of my hardcore Minecraft series where I'll talk about whatever I want. Maybe cuss, maybe not. Did a pretty good job not cussing here. But yeah, I just felt compelled to make this video because this is like, pardon the pun, this is like a turning point. And unfortunately, I think it's going to continue to crumble from here. I don't think it's getting better before it gets worse. Wow, it's like, you know, not... I don't know, man. I just see more violence coming. I don't see this being like a, yeah, we should come together, kumbaya type thing. I just see there's so many guns out there. There's so many nuts out there. There's so much medication out there. There's so much despair out there. You can't afford anything. I don't know how other people are coming to terms with the country falling to pieces. I mean, it seems like people are acting like it's normal. I can't believe that's the case. I know I'm a concerned citizen, and when I see a man like Charlie Kirk get taken out, I'm just like, damn. It breaks my heart. It hurts me. And I guess that's why I'm making this video. To get this out there to the world. So yeah. I could just keep going. Connect it all together. How bad everything is. I'm gonna just be straight up with you guys. I think I'm having the natural reaction that you have when you've been sort of gaslit your whole life and you find out that the adults you thought had everything kind of under control, like, really had no idea what was going on, and slowly these democracies, especially the superpowers, have been obviously hijacked. And I don't know if these people are like just sick of being rich and passing on the generational wealth, and now they have to get off by like controlling society. And like, I don't know what's going on, but there is something going on. There is some sort of evil forces going on that are controlling this. It's so obvious, and they got everyone kind of tricked, brainwashed, too busy to even know what's going on. And let me tell you, if we, as a, you know, if humanity lasts, I don't know, 50, 100, 200,000 years, however long, if the meteors don't hit, if the nuclear wars that they're flirting with don't pop off, the World War IIIs and shit like this, if we make it, the historians are going to be writing about this time. You know, like 1904 to now. And even before, about how sloppy, man, these global elites were when they took a hold of the institutions. They set up the institutions. They took a hold of the government. And they just like ping-ponged war between all these third world countries that they didn't bring them up to the first world countries. They left them all third world countries. This is the last thing I say. I remember being a kid and people explaining to me like, yo Mark Craft 86, you should be real fortunate about where you're at, man, but where you're born, because like, you were born here and you got like all this stuff, right? And there's other people who are born there, like maybe Africa or Ethiopia, right? And it's like they don't got anything. What do you mean they don't got anything? Like, Mark, they don't got anything. Like, they might have to walk a long time just to get some water. You know, they got to work for they don't know maybe when their next meal is coming from. You got war-torn countries, all this and that. And I'd be like, wow, that's crazy. And they'd be like, yeah. And I remember them talking about, you know, we're going to send some Catholics, Christians over there, a little missionary action. We're going to help out some people. I'm like, wow. I remember thinking, like, I can't wait for the day where, like, you know, we as a planet of people pull these impoverished countries, you know, into more livable conditions. I can't wait. I was so naive. I was like, yeah, of course it's going to happen. They're not going to be living like this forever, right? Of course we're going to step in and give them power and water and schools and all this good stuff that we have over here, right? And it's like, obviously never frickin' happened, right? So then I'm reading Aldous Huxley, Brave New World. I don't know if you guys have read it. Might want to check. I don't know, should probably check it out. Pretty good book. Not gonna go over the book here, just gonna say real quick that they have like 3 continents in the book, let's say. And you have 2 continents that are always teaming up on the one, and they're always in a constant state of war. And then like maybe every 6 years or so, they got they flip which continents are teaming, right? So North America and Africa are going at Asia. We're at war against Asia. And then, oh, Africa does the double cross, and now Asia and Africa are at war with North America. But the point is, they're always in a state of war. So they're always making money because they're getting rich off all the bombs and stuff. They're always in a state of emergency, so they have like, yo, we need to control the sugar, guys. We need to ration the sugar. The sugar needs to go to the front lines, right? Just so they're always in control. And after a few generations, it's kind of like no one questions it anymore. You know what I'm saying? And it's like I'm really starting to see that as an adult of like, you look at the third world, all these countries that have just been like decimated over the last 25 years. And it's like after World War II, they didn't bring them up. You know? And it's like they had no intention of bringing them up. And all these politicians have been talking to me. I was born in 1986. It is now 2025. You can do the math. All these politicians have said how everything's going to be great. You know, we're going towards world peace, and everyone's going to have a house, and everyone's got jobs, and you know, we got a handle on all this. Give us your tax dollars. We're going to spend it great. And it's like, wow, cut to 2025. And it's like, you guys are in debt. The scandals are out of control. We send all our money to like foreign countries. There's no telling where that money even goes. I know I know the military-industrial complex gets rich as shit off it. You know, but it's just like, Buddy's in the pocket. Trudeau's got these companies. It's just like, these people are supposed to make a modest income. They go in, play the stock market, insider trading. We're playing a game of Monopoly here, people. And I'm just like so sick of it. When I see good people like Charlie Kirk, this guy's fucking neck blown out. Pardon my language. Pardon my French. It just, you know, you got all this stuff going on, and they're just gonna like take out a man like that, like whoever it was. I don't even know who it was, but it's like, this is the last thing I'll say. I know I said that before, but I just think it's going to inspire a lot of people to keep the message going. You know, we do need God. We do need family. I don't want to obsess about transgenderism all the time. I'm live and let live. I'm like I'm not gonna get into what I am, alright? I'm not a left or right. Let me leave it at that. But I'm a live and let live kind of guy, but I don't want to talk about the pronouns all day and the LGBTQ and all this. I don't want to make our whole culture about pride flags and word police and I can't say this and I can't say that. So I'm out. I'm checking out of this stuff, you know what I mean? I don't even know what's going on. So I'm gonna leave it like this. Not proud of Canada. Used to be proud of Canada. 2025 Canada is a joke. Okay? And I don't see it improving either. And listen, I forget what else I was gonna say right there, but I've said like probably 8 minutes ago, man, I'm rambling now. I should cut this off. But yeah, I'm cutting this off. So rest in peace to Charlie Kirk. You know, I'm pissed off. I am heartbroken for his family. He did not deserve that. Nobody deserves that. I'm wondering where the humanity is. I'm looking around to see where the adults are. And these big events are tests, you know. There's a big test in 2020, and about 90% of Canada failed. And, you know, there's another test when Charlie Kirk gets assassinated. Can you just say that was wrong without bringing up all this crazy stuff, you know? It's just, we're not doing too good passing these little IQ tests here. So I think I just wish we would come to terms with, like, the news is fake, the country's collapsing, you don't feel safe getting on the bus, they make it illegal for you to have a handgun, so it's like the carjackings are out of control, the news ain't reporting the home invasions. This is the last thing I'm going to say. Alright, Canada is cooked. Alright, I'm not saying you need to go to church and eat Jesus' body and drink the blood, okay? But you know what? We could use a little bit of humility. And I've had it up to here with everyone acting like they know everything about everything. And as far as I'm concerned, I've been doing my own research, something that they tell you not to do, and no one can tell me nothing. Okay? That's not to say I'm not flawed. That's not to say that I'm a perfect person. Far from it, but I'm not the most adult person in the room, but I am way too mature to continue acting like this is even worth shit. It ain't. Alright, I'll wipe my ass with the currency. Pardon my French. Alright. Last thing I'll say, take up the gold standard in 1970, then just print as much money as they want. I mean, this whole thing is a monopoly game. Anyway, ronpaul.com. And rest in peace, Charlie Kirk. I'm glad I made this video. I'm rambling on, but that's how it's going to be. Probably going to make a hardcore series where I'm rambling on like this too. So this was kind of like a nice little test run. I'm going to come back here. I'm probably going to level this little island out right here. This is the last thing I'm going to say. I'm going to level out this little island right here. I'm going to make me a shovel and a little pickaxe, level this out. I'm going to build a big ass church right here. For the true OG fans of the channel, you'll recognize this seed. You'll recognize this spawn. You'll recognize this little area. So yeah, we're gonna do that. Build a big ass church right here. Probably won't be making videos where I'm talking doing it, but we'll see what happens, guys. Anyway, rest in peace, Charlie Kirk. Can't believe this stuff. I feel a little better getting all that off my chest, and yeah, stay safe out there, guys. Alright. North America is falling. Peace.